Okay, we're just going to jump right out of the gate.
I got my blue belt.
Congratulations, honey.
Thank you.
I thought about trying to figure out like a different sort of, like horn intro for when you for your blue belt. But 36 weeks to blue belt, honey.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What does that mean? We were counting it out 8 months and some change.
Yeah. It would be, I think 8 months feels right because like the first couple of weeks were like, I went once.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really crazy. It feels super crazy to say 8 months. I don't feel like, how do I phrase it? It's crazy getting my blue belt in 8 months, knowing that it takes some people 4 years. And I know that like consistency is a lot. People leave for, injuries, they change gyms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand why it takes people, but I think still the average is not 8 months.
Yeah.
Right. And because of that, because I'm probably on the fastest end of the spectrum, barring someone who is like a D1 wrestler or something.
Yeah. Or like,
there's people who like did it in like 4 months.
For a while.
Yeah. It's not that I feel like I don't deserve it, but what I'm hyper aware of right now is other people's perception of why I got it so fast.
All the eyes on you.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm just a sensitive person, so I think about that. But the more mature part of my brain is like, no, you earned it. And people getting awarded belts is also a spectrum. It's a spectrum of, we want you to grow into this, to you probably needed this a while ago.
Yeah.
And I'm probably on the you need to grow into this range. But I also have worked my ass off.
And you've done a great job.
Yeah. And I am also very aware that like I came in like with some predisposition, fitness, body awareness that a lot of other women don't have. So if I'm being measured being measured for like my avatar, right, a 38-year-old mom of 2, then yeah, I'm doing very well.
Yes.
I hope that I'm being measured as a jiu-jitsu practitioner. And I think maybe that's where like I get a little bit like insecure or something.
As opposed to like doing good for a girl. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, those two scenarios. Like I don't want to be given a blue belt because I'm doing really well for a 38-year-old mom of 2 who just started jiu-jitsu.
I completely missed that the first time you said it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to have earned my blue belt because as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, I deserve a blue belt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There's like 10 different things going through my brain right now, but I was thinking back just while you were talking about when we got started, and I asked you if you wanted to do jiu-jitsu, and you're like, I thought you would never ask, you know?
Yeah.
So like you came into it with that energy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you got drug into it because your husband's doing it and he wants you to do it because he thinks it's good for your self-defense or something.
See if I can. Yeah.
You jumped both feet in.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do it. And you have had that energy the entire time. Like, I want to get good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And we spend much of our free time
learning
and studying or watching stuff. And you're just really smart.
Thank you.
Like in life, you're an intelligent person.
Yeah.
So yes, you picked it up quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of thoughts running through my head too. Like that thought right there, or that comment from you is very interesting because I've, I've been very, my work has been very difficult lately. And I work at a very high, fast-paced tech company with a lot of really smart people. And there are many times when I'm there being like, I'm the dumbest person in the room. And when I am at jiu-jitsu, I'm like, I am skilled and I am predisposed to learning things with my body. And you saying that is very helpful because I'm like, it's a different type of intelligence. Unfortunately, it's not super useful in the corporate world, but I can find some like joy and satisfaction in that. And I think that's why it's really important to like not let this go.
What do you mean by not let it go?
Not let the hobby go.
Okay.
Not stop.
Got it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not let something else seem so much more important that I give it up, like work.
Yeah.
Right. I did that with CrossFit. Work became the priority and I let it go. And I think I needed to let it go anyway. But I think with this, and who knows, maybe in 10 years it morphs into a different hobby. But as long as there's something like this in my life, I think I will be very fulfilled.
Yeah. You don't give me the sense that you are now taking like a deep relieving breath because you finally got your blue belt and now you can like come off the gas. Like
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where I'm like, that's where my trust in our professor comes in because I'm like, he just knows people well. And I think he reads people well. And I was giggling because I was talking to someone, can't remember who, but it was like, I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's like, okay, well, you're feeling pretty confident as a white belt. So
yeah,
get out of here.
Yeah. Get out of here. Let's level up.
Yeah. And I love that feeling. Like I really love the feeling because now I'm like, okay, well, am I going to compete in October now?
Yeah.
I'm telling everyone else who doesn't feel prepared to go compete. So like, I think I need to, what's the phrase? There's a phrase of speech, but
put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Take your own medicine.
Take my own medicine. I need to put my money where my mouth is. And when I think about that, I'm like, okay, well, preparation begins yesterday, Yeah. So it's exciting. I feel good. I don't know. I don't feel like it's not too crazy feeling. Like I imagined it to feel so much more like grand, And I'm like, okay, cool. I trust you. I'm a little insecure, but it'll be all right. I'll get a little bit of attention over the next week from people who weren't there or were there.
You didn't get like an immediate dump of like, oh, now I have all these other jiu-jitsu moves now that I know randomly.
No, not at all. Now it's like,
because I'm a blue belt.
Right. Now it's like, oh gosh, I have to like try to prove that I know something. I need to learn some stuff now.
Yeah.
And I told you yesterday, it almost, and I keep using the word permission, and I'm not sure why that word keeps coming to my head because it didn't really click with you, but it still is sticking with me. It's like I feel like I have permission to dive head first, or like permission to like fully dedicate myself to skill development, where I think like white belt, like all that anyone expects of you is like to just keep showing up and like learn etiquette and be a good person. That's like, that's really all they expect of you. But like, I feel like blue belt is like purple belt, etc. Like when you get into like purple brown belt, it's like you're expected to be like a mentor and like a role model. And, black belt, you're expected to like amplify the sport and the community and the, like there's more responsibility. And so I feel like blue belt, it's like the expectation or permission is like, now get good.
Start to learn stuff now.
Yeah. So I like that.
There was, I was like putting myself in your shoes, I guess. And I said something last night to you, which was like, if I got promoted and I would like feel weird about it because it feels early or something, you know? And I was comparing myself to other white belts in that conversation.
Yeah. People, I mean, had the same feeling.
Right.
I have friends.
But I was like, oh, like today I kind of realized, I was like, oh, that's not the right angle. How do I feel against other blue belts? What does that delta feel like? And of course, there's a wide spectrum of blue belt.
Yeah.
And there's not a ton of blue belts in our gym. But when I stopped to think about it, I was like, oh, interesting. Like, how would I feel? There was like one person I was thinking of. I was like, what would it feel like? What does it feel like when I roll with this person who's a blue belt male? I was like, okay. Yeah, that recalibrates things a little bit.
Yeah.
Where like, okay, how close am I to that? And that was just kind of a different perspective that kind of like, I felt like it was like a closer barometer for me and my expectations.
It's good to be able to do that as like a snapshot, but I've heard people say you have to be careful about doing that long term, because if you continue to compare yourself to that person is progressing at the same pace or similar or faster pace than you, and that's like a really unhealthy thing to do. But like in the moment you're like, okay, where am I, you know, on the scale of blue belts in the gym? Like, I think I'm holding my ground.
Could you say that with like anybody, really?
I think so.
Person, right? Because everybody's
because sometimes it's a blue belt, sometimes it's a similar weight, sometimes it's a similar age, right?
Now that I think about a different blue belt, I'm like, oh, I can kind of manhandle that blue belt a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and like, I mean, again, the mature part of me says you shouldn't do that too often. I don't think it's unhealthy to do it, but you have to be it's potent medicine. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it's probably not the best thing to only use as your barometer.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty
I like the
natural.
What would you do against the 3 months ago version of you, or the 6 month version, you know? Yeah. That's kind of fun too. Yeah, our gym actually is stacked with blue belt women. And so that's why I started getting a little, I mean, and again, you're always questioning, are they just like going easy on me today? Are they like letting me work because there's a competition coming up? But I have mentioned in past episodes, I think that like there was a click that happened probably 2 or 3 months ago where I was realizing, one, scrambles matter. And, I'm strong. Like, I have a major advantage in some scenarios in a scramble, and like use it. Yeah. And then also, like, I don't need to just defend anymore. Like, I can start practicing submissions, and in order to submit, you got to get on top.
Yeah. How to get on top? Scramble or takedown, you know? Right?
So I started finding myself in more dominant positions, and I was like, oh, this feels interesting. I had a comment from one of the people that I partner with fairly often, and I'm like trying to cook her in a mount and then like just like wait for my moment to go for an arm bar, because I'm not super confident going for an arm bar. So I'm like, I need it to be perfect. I need to like, I'm like sitting there thinking like, okay, which leg goes here? Which leg goes there? And I think she was getting frustrated because I was on top, and she was like, are you planning on doing anything? I was like, oh, you're salty. You know, and like we all kind of have our moments. And like, yeah, it sucks to have someone just like sitting on your chest for 15 seconds. But I found myself having more moments like that. So I was like, okay, like I'm holding my ground with, you know, definitely with the similar size blue belts. And then there's a couple of blue belts that are like probably 20 pounds or so heavier. And so, you know, I was defending a whole lot better with them, and like maybe getting submitted once around with each of them. So I was like, I'm definitely feel myself getting better. I just don't know. And I think we mentioned it maybe during last week's podcast or just in conversation. I was like, the one thing that like, I don't care about getting my blue belt, but I am bothered by the fact that I have no idea how long it's going to take.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I was like, I don't know what blue belt means, and like what you have to be or do to get a blue belt, because like coming from a sport like Olympic weightlifting or CrossFit, like everything's so measurable, you know, like, and I was like a scientist about it. I was like, I know.
Can you pick it up?
Yeah. That it's only a matter of time and this many efforts before I get there, especially with like progressive overload and like weightlifting. Like you actually kind of know a time frame for when you'd hit a certain weight. And I didn't know. And I said that last week. Like I was like, I hate that it could be a week from now or it could be a year and a half from now.
And we were completely downplaying somebody's comment to you privately. Like, I can't believe like you're probably going to get your blue belt at the last belt ceremony that we got to go to.
Yeah. And I was
and
like,
we were both like,
Yeah,
calm down.
like trying to, I don't know. Like it felt like that felt a little bit like a, woe is me kind of comment or something. And I was like, shut up, whatever. You'd being like over
complimentary.
Yeah.
In a weird.
Yeah. And then our coaches made some weird comments at me that like kind of pissed me off, you know, because like before the competition, they're like, maybe this is your last competition and then you'll get your blue belt after. And
like, what the fuck does that mean? Do I have to compete to get my blue belt?
Like in that moment, I was like, yeah, shut up. You're just trying to gas me up for the competition. And then I couldn't compete.
Yeah.
And that messed with me a little bit because I was like, wow, like.
Did I just delay my blue belt?
Yeah. I was like, were they dangling that carrot? And like, because I didn't compete for the gym, am I going to get punished for it? You know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just funny journey. But we're here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to like sit and kind of noodle on the things I want to get better at.
Cool.
Yeah.
How are your ribs feeling? As our sweet boy asked you tonight. Mama, how are your ribs feeling?
Yeah, the week started. I'll do my recap real quick of the week. What classes I went to? Oh, that's right. So I went to all evening classes this week, and that was just kind of work and the way that things are panning out. It made sense to kind of keep consistency. So I went to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening, 3 days in a row. That's a lot after only doing like one class a week for the last 3 weeks. Let's see. Tuesday was no-gi. That went really well. We were practicing a lot of like X-guard and De La Hiva and some sweeps. So nothing terribly like hard on the torso or ribs. And I rolled and I told people these are my limits. And then Wednesday was a gi class and we did very similar movements, but it was a bit more intense. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm kind of like testing stuff out, still feeling good. Rolled with our professor, and I left Wednesday's class being like, I suck at jiu-jitsu.
Such an idiot.
I'm so like, I had an opportunity to roll with our professor, and I was just a total ding dong, and I didn't do anything cool, and I was just trying to wrap my legs around him, do what I thought might be daily. You know, I was like, play guard. Show what you learned this week. And I was just noodling my legs around in circles. I felt so stupid. And then, but like I had I had like kind of tough rolls with my other training partners too, because I just felt like, and I should feel this way probably for the next month even, like I don't want to do anything super explosive right now because I don't want to accidentally hurt myself. Yeah. And then when I see people coming in toward my rib cage to do anything, I'm like really heavily bracing.
Very cagey.
Very cagey. So I didn't have great rolls on Wednesday, but again, like I felt good. And then last night was comp class.
First one of the rest of the competitive season.
Yeah. And it's, you know, you show up and it's 6-minute rounds, 1 minute rest. If you need water to retie your hair, to fix your gi, you do it in that 1 minute. He said, don't sit down in between rounds.
Okay.
And then we did like a little mini ab workout at the very end. And that one, like my muscles are very sore. Like I feel like tender, but not in a bone kind of tender way like I was before. It's just like the whole like left side of my rib cage like feels kind of locked up, but not bad. I'd say like walking around, I'm like, it's a 2 out of a 10. And then like I had a good sneeze earlier and I was like, okay, that's a 5, you know, like I can't lie to myself.
Yeah.
Like it was a little,
we're back there.
Well, it just, you know,
yeah.
Like the doctor said, like, just try not to get above a 3, like don't go 4 to 10.
Yeah.
Like I can't stop sneezing. Right. And that was just like a massive sneeze in the middle of the day. It was okay. So yeah, I'm just like kind of sore, but I do feel like I'm kind of like working things out a little bit. But yeah, last night was the class that I got my belt, and it came completely out of the blue. I mean, I saw one of the coaches, who's one of the owners, talking to the professor, and they said something like, no, the folios, the little like holders for the certificates that they're giving out, like those are just going to be for brown and black belts. And I was like, oh, they're promoting someone today. And I was like, oh shit, like we're not doing stripes anymore. So like they're promoting someone today.
Yeah.
And I did have a little like, it could be me, you never know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that gotta get back to your roles. And we have this backpack that the professor hangs on the wall. And like, I think that someone is always like shoving belts into it when they know promotions are coming up, and like didn't catch any of that. But at the very end of the class, I want to take some time to recognize some people. I'm going to get the backpack. Everyone's like, ooh, the backpack. And then he's a very quiet guy, and like he doesn't mumble, but he's just not like shouting, right? So he says something along the lines of, you know, this person has.
By the way, it's like 900 degrees in our gym because it's like a 12-foot ceiling and a tar roof with no insulation.
Yeah.
And so they have fans like blaring. Like,
that too.
Wah!
Yeah.
And like this guy speaks, you know.
Yeah. So it's something along the lines of, you know, this person, you know, has been here, consistent, mastered the fundamentals, blah. Someone jabs me in the ribs. I'm like, don't even.
Yeah, stop it.
I don't know who it was. I don't want to look. Act cool. And then I think I like blacked out when he said Krystal, and I totally did one of those like look to the left, look to the right, like any other Krystals here? Did he say my name? And honestly, I probably wouldn't have gone up if someone else wasn't like, go Krystal. And I was like, oh shit, he said my name.
He called me.
Yeah. So it was great. And then someone else who we train with, who we love,
is awesome.
Such an awesome person. He got his purple belt. So I was like, if I had to be promoted alongside someone else, like I talked to you about this already, but I was like, I actually didn't want us to get promoted at the same time because I feel like it would feel like.
Oh, don't worry about it, honey. I only have one stripe.
Yours is coming. There's so many more blue belt promotions like on the horizon. And that's why I had this thought of like, maybe I'm just getting promoted because I'm good for a woman. Because I feel like you're just as good and capable as me, you know? But then I'm like, no, I mean, it's just different.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue with your idea. You didn't want us to get promoted at the same time.
Because I was like, you know, I deserve my time and you deserve your time.
Yeah.
So if, you know, and I'm more than happy to share the moment with other people at our gym. I wouldn't want to be the only one. And so the fact that this person in particular got promoted on the same day, I was like, if I had to choose anyone, I'd choose you'd be on my list.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a cool like bonding moment in a way.
Yeah.
You know, you're like,
okay, we're here. We're
homie.
in this. Yeah, totally.
We shared a moment. Like,
yeah,
we got promoted together.
Yeah,
that's cool.
He's been one of those people who has been very, like a voice of reason with both of us in injuries that we've had. Just being like, remember, it's always going to be here.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu's not going anywhere. Take care of your body. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And like helped me out in prepping for competition. And yeah, super cool dude. Very, very mentory. In a like he's just a good dude. Yeah. You know, he's not like trying to like find somebody to mentor.
He's not doing it because he feels like he needs to be a mentor to get his purple belt. He was doing it because he's just like a freaking friendly person.
Yeah, and you know, knows some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Now you.
Well, take a second to recognize our son who got his 3rd stripe.
Woo,
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which was the day before
Yeah.
you got your blue belt.
Yeah. I felt very lucky to be there.
Yeah, we
that.
were both got to be there for that, and he did the same thing, like looked around, you know, like me?
Yeah.
And he got his 2nd stripe in the recent past, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting him to get a 3rd stripe so soon.
Me either, but when you look at the like kids in his class, I mean, he does deserve it.
Yeah.
So
that was cool. That was really great. Yeah. I guess I'll go into my recap, and then I think it might flow into some things I've been thinking about this week. But I went to Monday night. Yeah, what did I do? We did side control chokes. Basically, it's interesting to start realizing just how influential a coach can be on their curriculum. You know, I'm like, it does feel like I'm learning our coach's game in a way.
Yeah.
Like inadvertently. Because I'm just like, this all feels like stuff he would do and is good at. And we are similar size and wiriness. So like, I like going to his classes because I feel like it will translate for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I really like our professor's classes because I'm like, oh, you have like long limbs like me. And you have the male version of my body.
Yeah. I don't really remember my roles. But they all went good. Like, I don't know. I kind of blanking on like a lot this week. But I got to go Monday night. I did not go Tuesday morning. I went Wednesday morning. Same class, same approach. Got to drill it some more. Drilled and rolled with a new blue belt girl. And I say new in quotations because she used to go to gym. New to our gym. But got her blue belt at the previous GB gym that we all came from. And she's very fun. It's like a breath of fresh air to the morning crew.
Yeah.
Because she's no slouch. And she she did this thing. She did it to me the first time I rolled with her last week, but this week she just like checked me. Like we were like, I think I was in combat base and we were like starting on our knees.
She gave you a little shove.
Shoulder checked me and just like knocked me on my ass. Like, thunk, and then came at me. I was like, oh my God.
We do this?
Yeah. I was like, and totally viable. Like, why can't you do that?
Yeah.
You know? And so
people push each other's foreheads, you know, they cover each other's mouths.
Like, so it's so funny because the way she rolls is different than anybody I've felt. And part of me,
it's funny. Our coach was like, if you can figure out how to throw her around, you're going to get really good.
Yeah. Because part of me is like, is she close to purple belt? You know, it's like, it kind of feels like that energy, where she like kind of knows some shit and it's just like, it was just fun.
Yeah.
It's just a fun role. Cause I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing with a lot of people, but she is different.
When you have someone come from a different gym, because I'm assuming that she trained somewhere in between when she left. Because when I was asking around, like, do you know this person? No one knew who she was. Yeah. So our morning coach remembers her.
And our morning friend, who's a purple belt, knows her. You know.
Okay.
So all that to say, like, that was like a fun role and a fun morning. Just kind of like. Very straightforward. Like nothing, no fireworks. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, morning classes are just like you get in, you get out.
Yeah.
So it can get kind of mundane. And there are some like more, not a lot of exuberance.
Yeah.
Out of the people who go in the mornings.
One thing that was kind of cool is that Coach, again, stopped to like work through stuff with me while I was rolling with our friend. And that always feels like a good moment, even though initially when he would do it, I would feel very insecure and just be like, oh my God, like kind of don't screw it up. But the more he does that, it just kind of reinforces that, like, oh, he cares and sees something, I think, where he's like, okay, like I can coach him and he will, like he said at the competition, he'll listen and actually do it. Yeah. Or like has body awareness or something. He's seeing something. And so I've noticed that like leaving classes when he's done that, I've felt like, oh, that's awesome. Like I felt like it was like a good class today, you know, or something. Yeah. And then I didn't go Thursday and I went tonight. And tonight was a wrestling class and it was 90 minutes long. And it is, I was so tired leaving. And that was generally just like this week, for whatever reason, I was zapped.
Well, we didn't have great consistency since the competition.
Yeah. Like
you took kind of pooped. Like a lighter week. You took like a really light week 2 weeks before the competition because of something that happened.
And I got sick.
That's right. And then the week of the competition, you didn't go too hard.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like I got hurt and I feel like you were going like maybe 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So.
In the wrestling class, like.
Oh, and last weekend we also partied for the first time in like a very long time. So that's like, probably why you're tired, because we just didn't sleep.
We got no sleep. And yeah, my body did not react well to no sleep. Not of that extreme. Yeah, like I slept. So whenever I wake up for jiu-jitsu, it's 5 a.m. Is when my alarm goes off, and I have a wristwatch that buzzes first so I don't wake you up. And if I don't wake up to that, I have a phone alarm. But this week felt different, where I'm like, oh, I slept, because I don't normally sleep through my buzzer watch alarm. Like I usually wake up to it and I just pop out of bed and go. Yeah. But this week I slept right through it, and then.
So it must just turn off on its own?
I think so. Yeah. And then my phone alarm went off, and I knew immediately. I was like, nope, I'm way too tired. Do not go this morning.
Yeah. We tried to go to bed a little bit earlier, but it was still probably 10:30 by the time you fell asleep.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just beat. I was really exhausted all week. But it was fun to go to the wrestling class tonight, and I want to continue to go to it. And I think realizing and remembering that there's a kids wrestling class before it, and we can take our son to it.
He's tired too.
Yeah, he's pooped. So knowing that I can take him and he can hang out while I'm doing class, I think that'll actually motivate me to go on a Friday night. Yeah. Because by the end of the week, you know, I'm just like, I already got 3 days in. I don't need to, you know, I don't need to push it, and then we can have a night at home. But now, getting Jacob in there, I keep saying his name, but
yeah. Well, it gives me some one-on-one time with the other one too. Which is good.
And like what was I thinking about? I'm not going to compete in October. And gosh, what was I felt like I had a topic for this week, and now I'm blanking because I'm actually very tired.
Because we were talking about you competing, and like I was talking the other day about how one of the benefits of competing, because like when we went to the competition, I was poking fun at how serious all the adults are walking into a hobby competition. Yeah. And like, if I were in it, I'd be one of those people that I was kind of poking fun at. Yeah. I get it. But when you see it from the outside, you're like, why are we so serious about this? Yeah. This is just a hobby. You don't need to mean mug everybody when you walk in, you know, like you're not a celebrity. But I was listening to a podcast and I was like, you know what? That's it. It's something in your adult life that forces you to take something seriously and work towards a relatively short-term goal. Yeah. And we don't get that very often in our adult life for ourselves. And it forces you to do things that are hopefully really healthy for yourself, like eating healthy and sleeping and training and practicing new skills. And so when I mentioned that, you were like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to compete in October.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's kind of the opposite of what I expect. Not that I expected you to compete, but I was like, I thought that me saying that would not have that effect, but it's because you were talking about having other goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I know I'm going to be distracted for the next couple months. And I think as much as I tried to keep myself calm before the competition, I think when I came out of it, especially as a white belt, maybe it's different at a higher belt. I don't know. It just seems like the scale or the threshold just rises with the belt ranking. But as much as I tried to stay relaxed, I think it is a mistake to go into it half-assed and not prepared.
Yep.
In multiple ways, right? With diet, so you're hitting your weight. With a strategy, so something you've been working on, and then like the mindset of like they're gonna try and choke you.
Yeah,
they're gonna like that's
what is
the point.
our friend says, new professor says, simulated murder.
yeah. Like, so realizing that, it was just kind of like, I'm not ready to kind of go back into camp, quote unquote camp again.
Yeah, and like our gym is actually treating it like camp right now. I'm like, okay,
because
serious.
I did like take it serious, even though like I was surprised at my weight management, where I was like, okay, this isn't as strenuous as it can be for other people. Yeah. And for that, I was very thankful and felt very blessed, but I still thought about it. And like, like I was thinking about the competition from the moment I decided to do it. Yeah. And I was like running through it in my head and trying to get to every class I could. And then while I was in class, focus as hard as I could. And then like try to do stuff during the rolls, as clumsy as it was for me. Cause
it's just a lot of mental effort.
Yeah. And right now I'm just like, oh, I'm not ready to do the quick turn and do that again in October, because it starts now. Yeah.
And I told you, like, I think, I can't say for sure, but had I competed with you, I might have taken October off too.
Yeah. But I do think I'll be excited for April and like ready to go. Like I'll want to do April and probably skip July and then do October. Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe do all three. I don't know.
We'll see. The nice thing is when you have gi and no gi, kind of mixes things up too, because you could do like just gi or just no gi or both, Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's good to ground yourself and just kind of have those moments of introspection, to be introspective.
Yeah. And I think maybe there's a part of me that's a bit contrarian, where I'm like, I'm not going to get peer pressured into this. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, and the gym needs people that are like there as like strong supporters and volunteers and logistically can help out, because a lot of our upper belts are going to compete this time. Yeah. So it'd be really nice to have you there to support as well.
I'm not going to go in there half-cocked and get just choked out.
What was that quote? I can't remember the exact quote, but it was like, I would rather go into competition trying to win but lose than trying not to lose and win. Yeah.
Sorry, I stepped on it.
No, it's okay. It's like, it's okay, because
it's okay to lose.
Well, and more than it's okay to lose, like it's okay to admit to yourself that you want to win. Yeah. That you are there to win. Like I think we get like told that like that kind of confidence isn't okay.
Yeah. Like just enjoy it. Just have fun.
Yeah. Like don't take it too seriously. It's okay. Like don't put that pressure on yourself. Like no, put that pressure on yourself. Yeah. That's why good athletes are great, is because they have confidence.
Game time.
Yeah. So I've been really interested in like reading a bit about sports psychology. I think I'm going to find a book and just read on like the psychology of athletes, because I follow someone on Instagram who was like that's her thing. She was like a D1 swimmer, and now she has an Instagram account where she just does little bite-sized pieces of information, and like it's like science. It's not just, you know, her making stuff up. And she just had something recently that was like, there's a common trend, a commonality between all of the most successful athletes, and it is a confidence. And she's like, they're not confident because they're good athletes. Like it's a cycle. It's like sometimes you have to fake it, but because confidence will make you a better athlete and take more risks. And then you get better and it makes you confident. And then you're confident, so you become better, you know, and like you have to kind of get that cycle going somehow. And that's why I've been like trying to tell myself, I'm like, just because you might compete against blue belts doesn't mean you can't win. Like you can win.
Yeah.
Like I can win.
Why not?
Why not?
You felt like you were going to steamroll your competition at white belt.
Yeah. So why can't a couple of those girls move into blue belt? Why can't I beat them now?
No. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Here.
Yeah. Anything else?
There was definitely something, but I'm like way too tired to remember.
I had,
What do you got? Maybe it'll come to me.
Let's see if it's the right tone. I think I saved a Reddit post. Okay. Oh, actually, okay. This is way off topic, but it's pretty crazy. You ready for this? The only BJJ move I know saved my dog's life. You ready for this?
Yeah.
So off topic, but it's okay. Female 27 and a couple. I'm a female 27, and a couple of weeks ago, an unleashed, I'll just say, big dog, because I'm not gonna stereotype, because I love these dogs. Unleashed large dog locked its jaws onto my corgi. It all happened so fast, and truly the interaction was 10 to 15 seconds, but it felt like forever. Long story short, I put the dog in a rear naked choke, and this dog was so locked on that he literally almost passed out when he finally released my dog. The vet said we got extremely lucky because he almost nicked an artery. So a few stitches and a drain later, and my dog is doing awesome now. The significance comes in the fact that I don't train in BJJ and never have. I don't watch UFC or MMA, but I have my dad to thank. He was in first group special forces and went through a massive BJJ phase. Basically, the one and only thing I remembered was how to do a rear naked choke when I was like 10 years old. I've never performed since on anything or anyone. Despite all that, when the attack happened, pure instinct took over, and my quick reaction provided minimal damage, and it didn't give the dog a chance to thrash his head around while he had my dog. In my opinion, everyone should know this maneuver, whether you're training in BJJ or not. It saved my dog's life, and I couldn't thank my dad enough for teaching me this, despite the fact that I was probably being a brat about it the whole time. And like some of the comments, like to kind of bring it more into like the positive light, you know, Reddit's funny, but one of the top comments was, "The thread would have been wild if you'd whipped out a Berimbolo." And then someone said, "I thought OP original poster started to pull guard, and the people just walked away in disgust." And then, nah, dogs are actually quite well known for butt scooting. Yeah. Pretty good.
Well, here. I hope she starts doing jiu-jitsu.
That's what some people were like, you need to start. Time to start training again.
Yeah.
And hunt down those guys who say they got the dog in them.
God, I don't know if I'd have, bravery or not.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild because, man, I wouldn't want to be on the business end of that puppy.
Yeah. Yeah, and someone was like, "You're really lucky that you didn't get attacked," but you know.
Oh, well,
all right.
It's time to sign off.
Because our kid is crying.
Well, thank you, honey. I love you.
Love you too.
Always don't forget.